Hello everyone, welcome back to the next little video in our animation series. This time we're going to look at the basics of keyframe animation. So if you remember last time in our tutorial we looked at two little assets. We had our critter and we had our contraption. So we rigged up the critter and then the contraption I didn't rig up on the video, but I have since rigged it up. Very simple. With this one, all I have done is attach basically everything to the machine body. Excuse me. And the machine body I have attached to this little base unit. So now when the machine body moves, it takes basically everything with it, including this wee shadow at the bottom. And that is all parented to the base section here. Very simple. Again, just parent with a pick whip and move our anchor points. So on these gears at the front, move those anchor points here. The little pivots here, I actually didn't even do that, so I'll just do that quickly now. It doesn't really matter where I move these to. I'll just move this down there. And on the other one, move down a bit lower. It doesn't really matter on these pistons. It's not quite as important as when we're doing a character and it has to be at a shoulder joint or anything like that. So that's this guy rigged up. What I'm going to do now, I'm going to make a looping animation for this machine. I just wanted to kind of do the same animation looping over and over again. And then I'm going to have this in the background. I'm going to create a scene. I'll put this in the background of that scene. So let's look at some of our animation controls here. So After Effects, if you've never used it before, or if you've never used any kind of animation software before, uses a process called Keyframe Animation. What that means is we're going to create keyframes and then let the computer blend between those frames. Sounds a bit weird. Let me show you a demonstration. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this little piston here, and it's in kind of an upward position. I'm going to move it down and then move it up again. So that is piston L. I'm going to select this. I'm going to open up. Let me just add it. Actually, do you know what I'll do? Give me one little second. I'm just going to move my ugly face out of the way. There we go, maybe over there. Just so that it's not blocking up some of these little keys and things. And I'll bring you back down, show me a bit more room here. Let me see, how's that looking? Can we still see everything? Yeah, we're alright, that'll be grand. Okay, so I want to move this up and down. I'm opening up my properties here in the timeline, and when we expand this transform, we see we have anchor point, position, scale, rotation, and opacity. They also have this little stopwatch icon beside them. This little stopwatch activates keyframe mode. Sorry, that was my email indicator there. Let me just calculate that. This activates keyframe mode, this little stopwatch icon. So when we click this, it activates keyframe mode, and at my very first frame here, I'm going to turn that on, and I want my position. I'm going to keyframe that. You'll see it turned blue. A couple of things happen. This indicator turns blue. Where I'm at in the timeline, if I just move this over here a wee bit, a little blue diamond appears, and we also have a couple of wee extra buttons up here. I'll talk about these in a minute. Key thing, this turns blue, and a frame gets added here. Now, very first thing to know when we use keyframe animation in After Effects, once we turn this stopwatch on and it turns blue, we want to leave it on. If I switch this off, watch what happens. That keyframe that was there disappears. It's been deleted. After Effects says, okay, you no longer need this, let's toss it in the bin. So once we activate on any of these properties or any property in After Effects, if we activate keyframe mode, it's with the presumption that we're going to leave it on. So make sure you never accidentally click that off. If it's on, keep it on. So I've added a keyframe there, just a few seconds ahead. What I want to do, I'm going to move this back to the start. All I have to do to do that, click on it and drag it. I can move it anywhere I want. I'm just going to move it to the very start. And then I'm going to come maybe about half a second forward in the timeline. This little blue line indicator here, this is our current place in the timeline. Our timeline here is 10 seconds long. As you can see, we can see the numbers. And we've got a keyframe here at the 0 point. I want to add one at the half a second. So what I'm going to do, easiest thing for me to do, there's a couple of ways I can change this. I can just drag this down, and If I want to drag it straight down, I can hold the shift key as well, and that'll make sure it stays entirely vertical. If I release the shift key, you can see I can kind of drag it off to the side a wee bit, but I don't want to do that. I want my animation to come straight down, so I'm holding the shift key. And now if I drag and forth between in my timeline between these frames, you'll see what's happening here. I'm going to zoom in a little bit so we can see a little bit clearer. Keyframe 1 at the 0 point is the high, the piston is up high. Keyframe 2 is down low. Now we've created these two keyframes, we've placed it at the top, we've placed it at the bottom. Those are key positions, those are keyframes. Then After Effects interpolates it and fills in the blanks for us. So unlike old Disney animation where we have to draw every single frame by hand, digital animation, we create the keyframes and then the software actually fills in the blanks for us. So in a lot of ways it's a lot quicker. We still need to do some tweaks and stuff, get it nice, get the timing right, things like that, but it's a far quicker, more efficient way of animating. So a lot of TV animation, make use of this for a lower TV budget, for example, and video game animation, if it's not mocap, will also be done using the keyframe method. So we've got this, it goes to the top, goes down. If we press spacebar, we can actually just preview this animation. There we go. Just press spacebar to toggle on and off. You can see the little red indicator from where we have our timeline indicator, the blue line. If we press space, we can view a preview of that. And there we can see our piston going down. But what if we want to make it go up again? Well, I could, if I wanted to, just keep dragging this up, hold shift and drag it down again. Maybe I want this to have a little bit of a variance on how it goes up and down, so it might not go up and down exactly the same each time. It might go down a wee bit. I'm just adding a few keyframes and moving to a different point in the timeline, and then moving the element, moving that layer. I'm just holding shift to keep it straight, and as I move it at that point in time, it just adds a keyframe on its own. So let's see what we've got here. If I just press spacebar, and we've got a couple of things going on. So I think it's a wee bit fast. So if I want to slow my animation down, very simple way I can do that is I can just drag these keyframes further apart. Further apart these keyframes are, the more time there is between them. The more time there is between them, the slower the movement will be. Vice versa, if you want to speed something up, bring those keyframes together. So I'm just going to drag these out a little bit slower. Let me see. That's not too bad. But what I do want to do is have it end up in my original position again. So I want it to finish up back in this first position. I want this animation to be able to loop back and forwards. So at the minute, if I was to play this back, let me just zoom out here. My composition here is 10 seconds long as well. If I want this animation to loop, I maybe only want to be 2 or 3 seconds of animation. So 10 seconds is too long. We'll cover that in a minute. We'll cover shortening the composition in a second. Let's finish up here, making this animation loop. So basically, if I want to start in this position and also end in this position, what I want to do is have this same keyframe here also at the end. Really, really easy to do that. All I'm going to do is select that little keyframe, and that'll turn it blue. I want to hit Control and C on my keyboard, and then come to the end and hit Control V. And that'll just copy this keyframe from here and paste it here. So now if I scrub through this, there we go. And you can see it finishes up in that upward position. Okay, so that's about 2 seconds. Let's say we'll make this animation a 2-second looping animation. But my whole composition is 10 seconds long. I want to shrink this down. And it just auto-saved my project there. So I'll just actually save it manually Remember, save every 10 minutes if possible. So I want to shrink this composition down. How I do that? Quite simple. This little bar here, just above my layers, this little grey bar has two little blue toggles either side of it. And this is called the work area. So you saw me pressing spacebar to preview through this. The work area, I can drag these two little toggles in. And that way, if I press space, it's only going to keep looping over the work area, over the space between these two wee grey toggles. So it's really handy if you're trying to fine tune a piece of animation. You can just repeat a small section of over and over. But another really useful use of the work area is if I bring this right back to the start, if I zoom in a little bit here with these buttons at the bottom, and I'm just going to bring the work area to my final frame. So it finishes up on that last frame. Maybe just give it one more. There we go, just make sure that's in the right place. Now, if I zoom out again, if I right click on this and choose trim comp to work area, it's going to shrink my composition down. It's going to get rid of all this extra stuff. And now I'm left with a 2-second composition. So if I zoom out, we can see there it goes from 0 seconds, number of frames up to 1 second, up to 2 seconds. That 10-second composition has been chopped down to a 2-second composition. And you can see now that my keyframes are extending the whole way. So where did my layer actually go? There we are. Zoomed out. So that is one element. And if I just let this play over, my little preview is going to just loop through. It's going to go to the end, go back to the start again. You can see we've got that. So that's one element done. Really, we just want to play about with this. We'll move the machine body up and down. We'll move this other piston up and down as well. And the other thing I'll show you is how to rotate these little gears. Works very, very similarly, but instead of working in position, we work on the rotation instead. So I'm just going to press this triangle to collapse this up. And then I'm going to choose, I'll choose the big gear, be easier to see. Open up the transform. And again, I'm just hitting the little stopwatch, this time beside the rotation tool. And this big gear, what I want, I made a minor mistake there. This is a very common one. I didn't set it right back to the start of the composition, so you can see that when I click that, it added my keyframe right in the middle. So default position here, right in the middle. No big deal. I'm just going to select that again and drag it right to the start. But very, very common thing you overlook. Just make sure when you're keyframing, set your timeline up here to the point you want to actually do it. Okay, so we've got that there. I'm going to make this rotate just one full rotation over the 2 seconds, and then it'll repeat. So I'm going to go to the very end, the very last frame here. And I want my rotation to go one full rotation. So if we look here, we've got two numbers. We've got 0x and then a plus 0, 0. What do these two numbers represent? The number on the left is the number of full rotations that you want. So if I want it to spin once entirely, I just type 1 in here. If I want it to spin twice in that 2 seconds, I just type 2 in there. This number here is the additional rotation in degrees. So if I have less than a full rotation, say I only want to rotate it about 20 degrees, I can type this in here in the secondary number with a little degree sign beside it. So if I want to change this to say 20, you'll see it just rotates ever so slightly. And from frame 1 to frame 2 here at the end, you'll see it just rotates very slightly, 20 degrees. So that's good if you want to do very, very small rotations. But what I want to do is actually one whole rotation. So I'm going to set this back to 0. I'm just going to put this to 1. So I've got one full rotation and no extra rotation. So let's just play through that and see how it goes. So we've got a nice slow rotation there. And we'll go from one full rotation. It rotates 360 degrees, goes back to its original starting position, loops the animation, and it looks quite seamless. So that doesn't look too bad to me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the video here. I'm going to work on a few more keyframe animations and animate this up a wee bit more. And then I'll come back in a few minutes. You guys don't need to watch that. So I'm just going to pause the video and we'll come back in a second. Okay, so welcome back, guys. I have animated the rest of the options in this. I'm just going to hit play here to show you what I got. You can see here I've just got a looping up and down motion on the main body itself, and because everything else is parented to it, that's bringing those up and down. The small gear I have animated just by going to the rotation here. If we look at the keyframes, and I've just done small increments. Rather than using the whole rotations, I'm just doing small increments, that second number, left and right. And I've just got several keyframes in there, so it's kind of speeding it up and turning the direction back and forth, things like that. I've also done this second piston here, and what's interesting with this one is it has both position and rotation on it. So its position is keyframed to go up and down, but it is also just rotating, just a tiny little wiggle each way, gives it a little bit more of a chaotic appearance. The only other thing to remember, again, first keyframe, copy paste that to the very last keyframe to make sure everything loops over. And that is effectively our keyframe animation for this little contraption. So now we have this rigged up, we can drop this into our scenes just as a prop. So that's what we'll move on to and do next. I'm going to finish this video here. It's ran on about 16 minutes. I think that's long enough. Hopefully that has given you an idea of keyframe animation and a few things we can do with it. And I will see you in the next video where we will take this forward. Thank you very much. And if you have any questions, please drop me a comment down below.